I want to talk to you today a little bit as I'm getting things ready for my meal for the day about the 4 week program that I have coming up on March 31st. So, what that program is going to look like is 4 weeks, and it's going to be for a small group of women, and it's around healing energy. Well, what does that mean? Healing the guilt and the shame that we've had that you may be carrying still around abortion, post-abortion, abusive relationships. Maybe it could look also like for you post-abortion and the preceding abusive relationship or relationships that you have had because of the guilt and shame that you've carried for so many years around this. And when we carry guilt and shame inside of our bodies and we don't heal that, we don't let that out of our bodies, it can affect so many things. Our relationship with ourselves, we are just, we are constantly blaming ourselves of, well, this all went wrong because I didn't, I wasn't there for them. I didn't put them first. Or you may be self-punishing, where you are putting everyone ahead of you because you don't feel like you deserve anything better because of this guilt and shame that you've carried for so long. And that's not true. You absolutely deserve to have a beautiful life and to be free of that guilt and shame. And what does that freedom feel like? You feel lighter inside. You really do. In your heart, you're not carrying this huge heaviness that actually we can be so used to carrying. It almost feels comfortable. And when you start considering the fact of healing that, letting yourself out of that jail cell that you may put yourself in, that we may have put ourselves in. I did that. And I was thinking about this morning, letting yourself out of that jail cell. We carry the keys to the lock to open the door, but we also need to be ready. And sometimes, how do you know when you're ready? When you're curious of what that could look like. If you have this yearning to want something more than this guilt and this shame that we carry. And I use we because I did it. I absolutely did it. So I'll share a brief story with you. I was carrying some guilt and shame around my younger self. I did, a lot of things that weren't good, and I have carried that guilt and shame with me for so many years. And when I thought back about it, those memories, those feelings, I numbed myself, and you might be numbing yourself too, from those feelings, of feeling that sadness, that hurt, the blame that we put on ourselves, the guilt, the shame that we have put on ourselves like a coat, and it becomes so unbelievably heavy. Anyway, when I thought about those memories, all I could see was this little girl into early adulthood, just being sad, just having this sad face in life. And when I had someone ask me, Terry, did you ever forgive yourself for all that stuff in the past? In this case, I'm I'm not talking about the abortion guilt. This is earlier than that. And it's like, no, I hadn't. So that told me, because I answered no, that I had some work to do. And when I started on that work, I could really start to feel that heaviness come through. And I knew I was ready. I was ready to start to let this go, to heal the energy around this, to let myself out of that jail, because I had the keys. And when I did that, the first round of it, it was powerful. It was powerful for me. As I work through things, a lot of times I feel it a lot in my heart, in my gut, but I also feel it along my jaw. And when I really start to feel it through here, that's when, for me, that's a signal. I know that I really hit something and I need to dig a little deeper. So I did. And as I moved through all of that, and now when I look back at that young person that went through all of that stuff, the trauma, the pain, the hurt, the grief, and yes, the shame and the guilt that I carried, I couldn't see her as a happy person, a joyful, loving person then. But when I think about her now, I see this girl, this young adult, smiling, happy, joyful, and loving life. Not all the stories and all the pain I had been carrying with me all these years. And I did a couple of things to start, and I'll share those with you, and we will work in these practices as well in this 4 weeks. And I'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a moment. Is I wrote myself a pardon letter. I did. I wrote myself a pardon letter, almost like a legal document. And I signed it. It was like, Terry, I pardon you for all your past indiscretions, all that pain you've been carrying around, that guilt, that shame. You are released. You are pardoned. And when I did that, I ripped it up. And then I went out and I burned it. And it was just this immense release of emotion that left my body. And it was absolutely amazing. So that is one practice that I would bring to you. Also tapping, certified in tapping, and you can tap on your own. You can Google it, you can Gemini it, chat it, you can do it. You can watch YouTube about it. And that's great. What I have found in most cases is that when you tap with a partner, the effects are deeper, and there's just a big shift in energy, a bigger shift typically than when you're working with it on your own. That's just been my experience with not only myself, but with others that I've worked with. So there is that. There is some journaling practices, and we're usually like, no, I don't want to journal, because we don't want to write it out. We don't want anyone to see it. So there's a couple of things there. Why don't you want to write it out? And who's going to see it? My first answer is no one that you don't want them to see it. You can also journal it out and take that paper and rip it up and burn it. And those are just a few of the practices that I bring to you, some tools to help you move through the guilt and shame from post-abortion, from abusive relationships, or a combination of both. And I know that can be a lot. I've been in both, And those are some tough paths to walk. And that's why I do this. That's why I am so passionate about this, because I don't want you to wait anymore to have that life that you really truly want and that you deserve. You truly deserve. So I'm going to put in the notes my social media handles. You can DM me through Facebook or Instagram, or you can reply below to this. I'm only going to put this on YouTube, and I will reach out to you. Um, so one-on-one calls. It will not be a group. And we start where you're comfortable in sharing. And I walk through this with you. And there will be, I think there's going to be a Voxer app. It's free, and you and I can communicate by voice in between calls. You know, like maybe a 5-minute, hey Terry, you know, I'm working through this and it's making me feel really uncomfortable, and you know, what can you help me through this a little bit? And then I will reply. So yeah, 4 weeks. And also, I guess maybe the bigger thing here for some is, what's the investment? How much is this going to cost me? And truthfully, it's free. 4 weeks free for you and I to meet and to start working through some of this healing energy of where you're ready to start to release and heal. And what I would ask for in return is your feedback and hopefully a testimonial. So I'll leave it there for now. And yeah, we can get all signed up. And if you're still not sure, you got to think about it. And I get that. That's why I'm starting to talk about this, almost 4 weeks in advance. Is if you would like to get on a call with me just to check out how we click, how we get along, let me know, and I will send you a link, and you can set up a 15-minute call. We can kind of touch base and see where you're at, you see where I'm at, and we go from there. But yeah, I look forward to hearing from you in the comments, and if you know of anyone that this might help, I would ask you share this with